Your sister? Lucy echoed. The one who— She broke off, flustered, as he shot her a cold glance over his shoulder. Was crazy? He finished sarcastically. I was going to say, the one who went away. Well, you have been in Pine Ridge a while. Time enough to have heard all the gruesome stories about my family, I'm sure. I'm sorry. Lucy's cheeks reddened. I hadn't heard that much. It doesn't matter. Actually, it's not so bad, being part of the local folklore. People tend to leave you alone. Is that what you want? To be left alone? He leaned back against the wall, folding his arms across his chest, fixing her with another intense stare. I guess that depends on who it is. Lucy dropped her eyes. She heard him move to the fireplace and sit down upon the hearth. Are you sure you want to hear the rest of it? He asked pointedly. Can it get any worse? She gave him a wan smile, and he almost, but not quite, returned it. These powers, forces, psychic abilities, whatever you want to call them, he began tentatively. They run in our family. At least that's what my grandmother says. When I was little, I thought she was magic. Sometimes she could tell us things before they actually happened. What kinds of things? Well, like when a certain neighbor was going to knock on our door, and then they would. Or who'd be on the other end of the phone even before she picked it up. Just simple things like that. She could tell you where to find things you'd lost, or that a storm was coming when there wasn't a cloud in the sky. And I never thought it was strange. It was normal to me. Intrigued, Lucy leaned forward. So, all of you had psychic talents? It was always so obvious with Catherine. From the time we were little, she was already having visions and seeing things nobody else could see. It was just a part of who she was. But mine was different. I was older the first time it happened, probably around 10 or so. And a woman, someone I'd never met before, had come to see my grandmother, and I remember she was so sad. He hesitated, as though reluctant to venture too far into the past. I remember she was sitting at our kitchen table, waiting for Gran to come downstairs. And I sat down across from her, and suddenly she just looked at me, looked me full in the face, and her eyes were so big and so desperately unhappy. Byron's voice lowered, a poignant blend of sorrow and awe. I stared right back at her, right back into her eyes, deep, deep into that terrible sadness. And I said, I'm sorry about your little girl. I'm sorry she drowned. And I remember she tried to smile at me, but she couldn't smile. All she could do was cry. And I felt so bad for her. Again he paused. Then he met Lucy's gaze with a level one of his own. There was no way I could have known about her or her daughter. She didn't even live around there. Gran told me later that I'd had a glimpse of her soul. Eyes, Lucy murmured. Eyes are supposed to be windows to the soul. Some people say so, he agreed. I couldn't explain it then, and I don't even try anymore. But if that's true, about windows to the soul, then the daughter she'd lost was the most important feeling in her soul that day. And I had a glimpse of it. Is it like, Lucy struggled for words, looking beyond pain, or seeing something that's even deeper than grief? His shoulders moved in a shrug. It's nothing like Catherine could do, nothing that clear or sharp. No smells or sounds or things like that. It's like looking through a veil. There's fog, mist, no definite features or details. Yet somehow I'm able to pull something out of it. Like through a curtain or a screen? Sort of, yeah. Lucy, what is it? But as the memory of the confessional flashed through her mind, Lucy hurriedly shook her head. Not now. Not yet. This isn't the right time. Nothing, she assured him. Tell me more about Catherine, about this gift of hers. A gift sometimes, but also a curse. The edge was back in his voice, and Lucy felt a prickle of apprehension as he continued with the explanation. As she got older, she didn't want to use it anymore because it scared her too much. She'd get nervous and embarrassed because she never knew when the visions would hit her, how strong they'd be, or how frightening. And most people didn't understand. Most people didn't even try to. All they knew was that she was different, and that sometimes she acted strange. And so some people laughed at her, and some made fun of her, and others were just plain scared. Byron pressed both hands to his forehead, gently massaged his temples. But of course, she couldn't just not use it anymore. That was impossible. It's not like a switch she could just turn on and off whenever she wanted. It was part of her, part of who she was. So it got to where she wouldn't even leave the house. Gran and I were the only ones she trusted. Home was the only place she felt safe. Lucy frowned, taking everything in. But if that's true, she asked carefully, then why did she end up leaving? She saw him tense, saw the briefest flicker of indecision over his face. She sat up straighter in her chair as her voice grew suspicious. There's something else, she accused him. Something you're not telling me. Byron stood up from the hearth. He pulled her from the rocking chair, then turned and strode purposefully to the door. Come with me, he said, and I'll tell you the rest of the story.